The distress beacon had been broadcasting for 3 cycles when the Galactic Council finally intercepted it. The message was simple, desperate, and heartbreaking. The colony world of Vrac 7 was dying. A plague had swept through their agricultural settlements, and their medical infrastructure had collapsed within days. They needed help. They needed doctors, medicine, hope. The council convened immediately. The Vraxian people were a peaceful species, farmers and artisans who had never raised a weapon in their 2,000-year history. They deserved mercy, but the council's resources were stretched thin across a dozen humanitarian crises, and Vrac 7 was in a dangerous sector, bordering the territories of the Kresh Dominion, a predatory empire known for seizing weakened worlds. "We cannot reach them in time," declared High Arbiter Tellum, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into sorrowful patterns. "And even if we could, we lack the military escort to guarantee safe passage through Kresh space." "Then they are lost," another counselor murmured. "Not necessarily," came a voice from the human delegation's corner. Ambassador Chenwei stood, her dark eyes steady. "Earth can respond within 48 hours. We have ships in that sector." The chamber fell silent. Humanity had joined the Galactic Council only 15 years ago, and they remained something of an enigma. They were generous with their trade, brilliant engineers, and surprisingly good diplomats. But they were also concerning. Every human vessel, even their cargo haulers, carried weapons. Their culture celebrated warriors alongside healers. They told stories of violence and redemption with equal passion. "Humans," Tellum said carefully, "we are grateful for your offer, but this is a medical emergency. We need hospital ships, not your warships." Chen's expression didn't change. "We'll send what we have available. Trust us." The council had little choice but to accept. When the first human vessel dropped out of FTL above Vrac 7, the Vraxian administrator Kellis felt his heart sink. The ship was massive, angular, bristling with weapon emplacements and armor plating that could withstand a supernova. Its hull bore scars from countless battles, and its sensor arrays swept the system like the eyes of a hungry predator. "This is UHMS Indomitable," came the transmission. "We're here to render medical assistance." That is a battleship," Kelly stammered into the comm. "That's correct, Administrator. We're a hospital ship, Mercy class, preparing to establish orbital quarantine and deploy medical teams. Stand by." Kellis watched in bewilderment as the enormous warship took position above his world. Then the cargo bays opened, and instead of fighters or troops, medical shuttles poured out like a swarm of angels. Each was marked with the ancient human symbol for healing, a red cross on white. Within an hour, human medics were on the ground setting up field hospitals with military efficiency. They wore combat armor modified to carry medical equipment instead of ammunition. They moved with the precision of soldiers and the compassion of healers, triaging patients with calm expertise, even as their ship's weapons tracked every vessel entering the system. "Why?" Kellis asked Dr. Sarah Martinez, the lead physician, as she worked to stabilize a dying child. "Why is your hospital a warship?" Sarah didn't look up from her patient, her hands steady as she administered the treatment. "Because we learned a long time ago that medicine without protection is just a target. We watched too many hospital ships get destroyed, too many doctors murdered, too many patients bombed in their beds." She finished the injection and finally met his eyes. "So we decided never again. Our healers will never be defenseless again." The Kresh Dominion arrived on the second day, 3 heavy cruisers dropping out of FTL with the confidence of predators approaching wounded prey. They had been monitoring the situation, waiting for the perfect moment to claim Vrac 7 and its valuable agricultural patents. "Unknown vessel," the Kresh commander broadcasted. "You are in territory we have claimed. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain James Okafor reviewed the tactical display. His ship was outnumbered and technically outgunned. The Kresh vessels were state-of-the-art warships, each one a masterpiece of destructive engineering. But he had something they didn't understand. "Kresh Commander, this is Captain Okafor of the United Human Medical Ship Indomitable. We are conducting humanitarian operations under Galactic Council mandate. You are ordered to withdraw." The Kresh commander's laugh crackled through the speakers. "A hospital ship gives orders to the Dominion? Surrender or die." "One more thing you should know," Okafor said calmly. "We're not alone." The system's edge lit up with FTL signatures. 2 more Mercy-class hospital ships dropped in, their weapons hot, their shields already raised. Behind them came an entire humanitarian fleet. The UHMS Nightingale, the UHMS Asclepius, and the UHMS Florence, each one a fortress of healing protected by enough firepower to level a moon. "This is a medical emergency," Okafor continued, his voice like iron. "We will protect our patients. We will complete our mission. And if you fire one shot, if you threaten one life we're here to save, we will demonstrate why humanity arms its healers." The Kresh vessels held position for a long moment. Their sensors showed them the truth. Each human hospital ship was indeed a battleship, crewed by people who had somehow managed to be both warriors and healers, who had decided that mercy was not weakness but something worth fighting for. The Kresh withdrew. 2 weeks later, the plague was contained. The patients were recovering and the human medical fleet prepared to depart. Administrator Kelly stood in the landing bay of the Indomitable, overwhelmed by gratitude and confusion. "I still don't understand," he admitted to Dr. Martinez. "Why make your healers into warriors?" Sarah smiled, tired but satisfied. "We don't make healers into warriors. We make sure our warriors remember how to heal, and our healers remember how to fight. Because in this universe, sometimes the only way to save a life is to be strong enough that no one dares take it away." As the human fleet jumped back into FTL, the Vraxian people looked to the stars with new understanding. They had called for medical aid and received warships. But those warships had brought doctors, medicine, and hope. And perhaps most importantly, they had brought the promise that sometimes mercy came with teeth. The galaxy would remember. Humanity protected what it cherished, and it cherished its healers most of all.